Start to a new week. Today is Monday, October 24th, and it's feeling like fall. I mean, we're deep into the fall. It's almost Halloween time, which is exciting. Um, obviously, new special start time today, 10 a.m. So if you are just joining us, then welcome. This maybe is your first time, and that is cool. Adding Doug in here. See how his weekend went at the art festival. There he is. He's coming in hot, dancing.
It's Monday. My favorite day of the week. All these new opportunities, right? And that what they say, what the like, I don't know, working guru people want you to think. You wake up, you got all this new opportunities, new things to accomplish this week.
I don't know. Is that what they want you to think? I've never actually heard that. It sounds like a positive outlook. I can't imagine many people buying that. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Ike Two Palm says happy Monday to us. So happy Monday to you. I'm usually okay with Mondays. I don't. I actually usually I get up early, and I don't get up early. Our show starts at 11 on Mondays, and I do all the week planning. I figure out all the new articles because new stuff happens over the weekend. So I usually find out a bunch of new stuff, and I actually usually enjoy Mondays. Today, I am not really enjoying this one. First of all, we have the earlier start time, which when we set this time an hour earlier, it seemed like that's no big deal. That's just we'll just start at 10. But as I was doing it today, I just noticed the time ticking away and running out of time to prepare for the show. And I was like, good thing we didn't always, because we were definitely considering 10 o'clock as our
that was the original start time, right?
Yeah. Yep. So if you're here live with us, then you should know that 11 a.m. is our usual start time. So 11 a.m. follow No Meat Athlete _ official or compliment who sponsors this show, and you'll always get notified. Well, you'll be around when these things are happening. You need to actually turn on notifications to make sure that you get that. But anyway, and we also have a
subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, we have a podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can get that. It is just cranking along. I think, Doug, we're at 18,000 downloads or so now, so we are really reaching a lot of people that way. So it's good. So typically we start, Doug, with the weekend update. Oh, so I didn't explain why this is my weekend update. I'm just I feel like I got no weekend. I sort of knew this was coming because I had to leave at 11 a.m. on Saturday to go to Raleigh for soccer and didn't get home till 6 p.m. last night. So just didn't have a weekend basically. I don't know. I was in the car, I was in a hotel. It was just there's nothing to do waiting around till a 1 o'clock soccer game on Sunday. So the day just disappeared and the whole weekend just disappeared. So I'm not that happy about this Monday. I just don't like it. But
you should just take the day. Just take the day, man. Take the rest of the day. Cheers.
I have calls and things planned. Can't do that. But what about you? You had a better weekend than I did, I think. I know you were doing some festival.
Yeah, I had a big weekend. It kicked off with the first Halloween event of the year on Friday evening. We had our first costume party and hang out outside, and we watched the Halloween movie, and I couldn't remember what it was last Friday, so I wanted to tell you what it was. It is Charlie Brown's It's a Great Pumpkin.
Okay.
Which, have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that's not a Halloween movie, is it?
It's a Halloween movie.
Okay, maybe it is. I was thinking that was more like a Thanksgiving movie.
No, it's Halloween. They go trick-or-treating and wait for the Great Pumpkin.
And they have costumes. That's right. I remember that. Okay. Yeah. So what? Yeah, I've seen it. So what about it?
Well, Charlie Brown is just kind of weird, man. It's it is weird. It jumps around to different stories that are totally kind of unrelated, and you know that I forget her name, the girl, one of the main characters. She's such a bully. You can't
Lucy,
do that.
Is it Lucy?
Lucy, yeah. She's just she's really mean. It's Eliza was like, why is she doing that, Daddy?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tolerated. I'm with you. I think Charlie Brown is weird. It's one of those things that you grow up thinking is a classic. This is just the prototypical Christmas or holiday show because it's always on. But I think it doesn't really hold up anymore. I think it's kind of out.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
it's weird. The music isn't. I mean, it's that jazz music, which is fine, but kids aren't into that. It's just not. Yeah, I'm with you.
I think of it as having a lot of nostalgia, but I don't know.
Right. Yep. Much better, even though also poor animation. The Rudolph and Frosty things, well, not Frosty, the Rudolph movies That to me is really good still. I still enjoy it. It's weird. It's weird, but it's good. And at least, I don't know, that animation I can get into, whereas the Charlie Brown, the one guy has the dust cloud all around him all the time.
Yeah.
And he rolls in and that fog comes. It's just weird. Okay.
The plant powered pantry says Lucy Van Pelt.
Yes, that's right. That is the name of Lucy, the bully.
So that was my Friday night. Saturday we were supposed to go to the Leaf. I just spoiled it. Leaf Festival was on the plan,
right?
Which is the big Lake Eden Arts Festival in Nashville. It's huge music and art festival. Really, it's kind of it's a good time. It's really fun. It's one of my favorite events. We got all loaded up in the car, all packed up, ready to go. We start driving away, and I'm like, Katie, why don't you go ahead and pull up the tickets so that we have them, because you do this car line thing. And turns out we didn't actually buy the tickets. We thought we did. And they don't sell tickets day of. So we were in the car. We actually showed up hoping that maybe they had us on a list or something. We just couldn't find the email.
Right.
No, we didn't buy the tickets.
Well, who dropped the ball? Who was supposed to get it?
I'm not going to point any fingers, but it wasn't me.
It was Katie. Okay. Did she think she bought them and got and just didn't click the final confirmation? Or
yeah,
she just
I think it just didn't go through. It definitely. I mean, we were together when there was we were looking at the prices and everything, so I think it just didn't go through, and no one noticed. But yeah, so our day was thrown for a big loop. So we pivoted. We went to an apple orchard, did some apple picking, which was very pleasant. The kids loved that, and it was beautiful fall day. And then went to did a little bit of brewery hopping so we could go see some music and still have a little bit of a festival experience. But definitely a bummer to miss the festival.
Did the kids just burst out in tears?
They handled it pretty well. Neither of them remember going to it before. Eliza's been a couple times, but neither of them really remembered. So I had been hyping it up all week. So I was really afraid that this was going to turn into a huge thing. But when we told them we were going to the apple orchard, they were cool with it. So
okay, good.
Yeah, worked out okay.
Good. All right. Well, that's too bad. But honestly, a little apple orchard and some breweries and music, that sounds like a pretty good day. So that's not a total loss.
No, not at all. And then Sunday, I went for a long run and I listened to the full new Taylor Swift album. So I thought you'd appreciate that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I give it a 8.3.
8.3. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm so out of the music scene that it's I was thinking about the Taylor Swift thing, because I still think when an album comes out, you need to go buy the album somewhere if you want to hear it. It didn't really occur to me that I can just listen to any new album immediately, just on my Amazon Plus whatever music thing. Is that right? You can just go get it there, right? If you're in,
I mean, or Spotify. I mean,
whatever you're subscribed to. Things just show up there when they're new. Yeah, it's that's new to me.
That's typically how things work. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't listen to new albums. That's what it is. Okay. I don't ever listen to I don't anticipate an album drop and then listen to it. It has never happened in my life in the days since they stopped printing CDs, or since we started having MP3s.
Huh. Well, this is definitely a headline read and not an article read, but apparently when Taylor Swift's album dropped a couple days ago, it broke Spotify. Spotify crashed. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was nice running entertainment. There were a couple good pop bangers on there. So
does Taylor Swift actually write her songs?
Yeah, I don't know if
she's like a real artist.
She is. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I kind of assumed a while ago that she was more in that pop crowd where it just about how you look, and assuming you can do a decent job singing the words that someone else wrote, then you're just sort of the front.
No, I think she's separated herself quite a bit from
that's
that.
Good. Good for her. I can get into that. Still not going to listen to the album, but I can.
You will. Don't worry. Your daughter will. All right. So I've got a new segment before we get to the
hard hitting stuff we use.
The hard hitting articles that you've worked really hard on.
Okay.
So this I did a little research, did a little thinking. It all started when I was drinking a beer over the weekend, a Narragansett Lager, whose slogan is "Made on Honor, Sold on Merit." And I looked at the back of it to see where it was made. It says Narragansett right on there. It has to be from Narragansett, Rhode Island, right? Nope.
I wouldn't know. Brewed in that was a town.
Brewed in Rochester, New York. and it broke my heart a little bit. I felt really cheated. I almost caught up my lawyer. So
the perfect lawsuit opportunity.
Perfect lawsuit opportunity. So then I started digging a little bit because we've been talking a lot about the Texas Pete lawsuit, and what was the other one?
The Barilla Pasta lawsuit.
Oh, you're right, the Barilla Pasta.
Italy's
lawsuit.
#1 pasta, made in New York and Iowa.
And did you know that B&M's Boston's Best Baked Beans are made in the Midwest? They're not even Boston's best. That's a big one. I feel like that's a pretty big one.
You're right. This is a gold mine.
I know. I think so. I think we should have a new segment that every time we come up with a product that that's lying to us, but in the name, we need to call it out.
I think it's a good idea. All right, I'm gonna start keeping my eye out.
Please do.
I like it. All right. So people are slowly filtering in here. Not a lot of people because we're at a weird time. But I did notice that some of the regulars here, Dale Stevens, the Whole Health Experience, Clarify 144. I don't remember that name. Oh, Shuck Jody. But Clarify 144 is giving us some stuff. Says Taylor plays guitar and piano too. I knew she played the guitar. That's good. Shuck Jody says great documentary on her on Disney Plus. I did not know that, but I'm interested in that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, people. Oh, and also Jody agrees that the Snoopy pilot scene is weird. So good. We're not alone.
Yeah, right. They're like, he's like gunning down. It's like totally very odd. Very odd.
All right. And last thing before we get to our stuff, Justin Fields, plant-based quarterback of the NFL, in the NFL. He's for the Bears, who have a probably league worst passing game right now. He plays on Monday Night Football tonight. So that should be interesting if you're into that. They're playing the Patriots. So yeah.
How are the Patriots now? Are they good?
They're 3-3. I don't know how they're actually good. I know Tom Brady, who I thought was good, we've been talking about a lot recently, lost to the Panthers yesterday, 21-3. The Panthers are not beating anyone this year. And they even just got rid of Christian McCaffrey, their running back, their only good part. They traded him away. So I don't know how they won. But Tom Brady that TB12 must not be working for him. At 8:30 bedtime, no alcohol problem.
Definitely a reflection on his diet.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And Clarify 144 says she follows us on Instagram. By the way, if you don't do that, @athlete_official is where this is. If you're like a podcast listener, Real Matt Frazier is my handle. Doug is Rock Creek Runner. You can always go see us there to see what we're doing in our personal lives. Okay, Doug. So here's the quick headline for the day. The big one: Beyond Steak is now available at Walmart and Kroger. That's exciting. We've been talking about Beyond Steak for a couple. I mean, I don't know, as long as the show's been around, month and a half, 2 months now. It's finally here. You can go get it. I don't think it's in I know there are Kroger equivalent stores like Safeway, I think is one. I did not see that it was there, and I couldn't really tell. It's also in some Albertsons or something like that. These other supermarkets. But Walmart is, everyone's got a Walmart nearby, and that's pretty much where you can go get it. So we actually thought about grabbing it tonight, but then my daughter's Ellery, who loves this show, for all the fake meat talk we do, she doesn't really get into the Beyond and Impossible meats. She just won't. I don't know. She thinks they make her sick or something, or she doesn't like them. She'll eat the field roast and the traditional vegan meats, but she does not like these high tech ones. So we decided not to do the steak tips for dinner tonight, but I'll have to try that at some point. Or maybe are they steak tips or beef tips? They're just steak. They're beef tips though. Yeah. But you know what? I couldn't think of a recipe because I was, while I was still thinking we might have that for dinner, I started Googling because we were trying to figure out dinner for tonight. And I Googled beef tips recipe, and all I found was 100 beef tips and gravy was the recipe that you make. I just figured there would be all kinds of interesting bowls and burritos and things people do with beef tips, but no, they just put it with gravy and next to potatoes, and that's all you do with it. So I don't know what else to do with Beyond Steak.
You can't have a product that's exclusively for beef tip and gravy.
Right. So someone's got to figure out something to do with Beyond Steak, and I'll be curious if anyone does.
I'm telling you, man, fajitas, the way to go.
Yeah, that actually would be pretty good. I could do that. I'm sure you'd be into that.
I would definitely be into that.
Kebabs.
That's
corn chips. I was laying in my daughter's bed last night, helping her fall asleep, and she was listening again to the Friday episode, and someone talked about your middle name should be Corn Chips, or your nickname should be Corn Chip, Doug Corn Chip. Hey, and I was thinking, do you just eat the corn chips by themselves, like when you snack on corn chips, or do you always require some kind of dip with them?
It's probably 50-50.
It's kind of bland. Isn't that sort of
no, dude, they're so good. That was my snack last night, actually. I had
just
a really
plain corn chips.
Just plain old
like
corn
triangular
chips.
ones, like
just like organic corn chips from the grocery store.
Okay, just lightly
just plain,
salted.
I mean, they're just salty. They're salty and delicious. It's like, I don't know how you can not like corn chips. I don't get it. I don't get
why I don't like them. I just wouldn't eat them by themselves. It just seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, so either it's hummus, salsa, or plain. But
okay,
it doesn't matter. They're my favorite vessel for anything.
No guacamole?
Oh yeah, guac, sure. I'm not making guac very often, and the store-bought guac just never does it for me. Like the that's prepackaged kind.
Yep. All right. Speaking of guacamole, good transition to our next one. Veg News. Our friend Tanya Flink at Veg News has written a new one, as if maybe written just for this show. How to order vegan at Taco Bell: The Ultimate Guide. And if I was ready with the buttons here, I would have our Taco Bell sound. Jody says, "Are you talking about tortilla chips?" Yes, tortilla chips is corn chips. All right, my sound is not working. I'll have to refresh that. But
oh no, that was a huge missed opportunity.
I know, it's like the perfect one. Anyway, so it's the how to order vegan Taco Bell. My first thought was like Tanya's articles, but I thought, do we really need that? So all you have to do is hit the vegan button on their menu or on the app, or it's the green V. It's a vegetarian button, but I think about it as the vegan button. And then you get all the options, and they make all the substitutions for you. And that really is, like, to me, that's the simple way to order vegan at Taco Bell. You just substitute any of the meat for black beans or refried beans, and you say fresco style. So then you don't get, any of the creamy stuff or the cheeses. You just get tomatoes and lettuce. But there's actually more to it here. First of all, I didn't realize that potatoes were a crucial part of the Taco Bell menu, specifically the vegan vegetarian menu, and that they took them away at some point in 2020 to make way for new plant-based options. Which I guess now we're beginning to see with the Beyond Carne Asada steak being tested in Ohio. I think that actually just started. So I guess they were making way for more of these types of things. They got rid of potatoes, but then they brought them back because people were so upset. But I've never gotten a potato at Taco Bell in my life ever, and I don't know what you would even do with it. I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's a part of a dish, or you just get a baked potato? I'm sure no one's getting baked potatoes at Taco Bell.
I don't know. We've been talking about Taco Bell. There it is. We've been talking about Taco Bell for probably 2 years, maybe whenever you started doing all your traveling for soccer.
Yep.
On No Meat Athlete Radio, and I still have yet to actually go there.
Yeah, the good thing about it is it's everywhere. You can always find Taco Bell, and usually it's a dependable experience. I just this weekend went to try to get Impossible Whoppers at Burger King. We were going to do it on Saturday after we got into Raleigh after a long drive. Thinking we'd do that instead of a expensive thing. So we went to the Burger King, and this happens like way more than it should at Burger King. You go there, I sit in the drive-thru line behind another car. It's taking forever. Finally, they drive away, and I drive up, and there's no one at the thing. Like the menu is still lit up, but there's no one manning it. So then I went around, parked, and I see someone inside behind the counter, but there's no one in the restaurant. And you pull in the doors, and it's locked. And it's like 6:00 on a Saturday night.
What?
So I thought, yeah, and it happens a lot. And I think it has to do with labor shortage and people not wanting to work because they're getting free money from the government. I think that's the problem. I do think that's the problem. Because it's been since COVID, you just can't count on places being open, fast food restaurants. It has happened to me at a Taco Bell before, but even the next day, the Burger King, when I went back Sunday at noon, figured we'd get it for lunch instead. It was same situation, except now they had a little handwritten closed sign over the drive-through thing. But I don't know. So Taco Bell more dependable than that, but I've had some really bad Taco Bell experiences with waiting and just people not knowing what's going on.
Sarah Loves to Run says the best vegan fast food by far.
Yeah, she might be right about that. It really is good, and it's not somehow it's like high quality seeming stuff. It used to be that I didn't think it was in the old days, but now it just, I don't know, especially the black beans. I just think it's really good. Anyway, on the list here, number one is my favorite, Black Bean Crunchwrap Supreme. And she writes, Taco Bell managed to invent a food item even more portable than the burrito, the Crunchwrap Supreme. And that is really true. It does not, it's perfect for driving because it doesn't fall apart in your lap the way a burrito often does. And then you got to eat it with a fork. Stays together nicely. It's, again, the Crunchwrap is the tortilla wrapped around the round fried hard taco piece, the corn chip, basically, Doug. So you would love this. Yeah, just get it with black beans, get it fresco style, and it's gonna be how you want it. And then she does add this: ask for a side of guacamole for dipping, which I don't do, but maybe she should have called this out. If when you say fresco style, they'll also take the guacamole off of things, not just the creamy stuff, the dairy. They'll take away anything that I guess is perceived as high calorie or unhealthy. So you need to add the guacamole back in if you want to have that, which is what my son often does on his stuff. But Doug, you would not be impressed with the guacamole. It's not prepared at your table Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
And then also a few potato things. So I didn't know about this. Spicy potato soft taco. That's an interesting idea. Oh, it's a $1 wonder. You have to get it without the cheese and chipotle sauce. So you can add onions and jalapeno peppers. I mean, you'd have to add something because then you just have potatoes wrapped up in a wrap. And then she also said you can add potatoes to the Crunchwrap Supreme. I did not know you could add potatoes to things. So that's probably what the role the potatoes are playing. You want to add them to things. So I like it. It's not a bad idea. And contrary to popular belief, Tom Brady's popular belief, the white potato is not an unnatural food, not a processed food, even though it is white.
Dale Stevens says you can add potatoes to anything. They are like little bite-sized ones. And then someone else chimed in about potatoes. The real Melmo says that they're like little home fries, and someone said they were spicy. They can be spicy.
Yep, makes sense.
So that's why. Yep. But yeah, sounds actually pretty good.
Yes. So it's worth doing. Nacho fries, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can get by just taking all the good stuff off of it, so that you end up with you'll have nachos, but they're not going to be wet like nachos are. They're just going to be dry nachos. You can get some black beans on there. So it's not. Some of these are not great, but that's okay. So anyway, great. Yeah, if you haven't done Taco Bell vegan, it's a good thing to do. And I think I have not actually looked at the nutrition facts, but I always assume that it is a somewhat healthier choice to get black beans, lettuce, and tomatoes wrapped up in tortillas. That's gonna be better than an Impossible Burger. Maybe even better than some of the Chipotle options, just because of the number of calories you get at Chipotle and the amount of salt.
Yeah.
But anyway, good place. I always appreciate the Taco Bell vegan friendliness.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. All right, we talked last week about how in Minnesota, I think the Target Center, Wicked Foods, which is Chad Sarno and his brother's vegan thing, they're buying up different brands. It seems like the frozen foods, and including the Good Catch crab cakes. That is now they have a spot in the Target Center, so you can now get vegan food. Doug, you did sort of a downward facing Doug on that one. You said you did not like that. You were not in favor of it because you wanted it at every stand. You can't. One is not enough for you at a ballpark. You must have it everywhere, just in case you're there with someone else who's an omnivore. You want to stand in line with them. You said,
"Man, so, the way you're saying it makes me sound like worst vegan guy ever."
Yeah, it kind of was, which is what. That's the charm of downward facing Doug. I think they're always these sort of ridiculous, I don't know, things where people are doing something good and you have a problem with it. We should bring that. I think that needs to be a segment again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I actually was thinking about that today as I was reading this article because
we didn't say what the article is yet, by the way. So, but continue.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, sorry. We didn't say what.
What the actual thing? Last week it was this thing at the Target Center. Now, and then I'll let you go here, Doug. It's that the Climate Pledge Arena. I didn't know that was the name of the arena in Seattle, but that's what it's called. And it is the home to the NHL team Seattle Kraken, WNBA team Seattle Storm, and an event space. So not huge sports, but they're so big. They now have an Impossible. I think it's called an Impossible Market, which is like a all impossible kitchen kind of thing. That is there again, not in every location, Doug, but it's in.
They have two
concession stands. Yeah, sections 11 and 12. So that's just where you need to sit with your omnivore friend when you go.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that today because I was reading this article and I didn't have the same negative reaction to it as I did on Friday, and I was like, okay, was it just that I was in a bad mood on Friday, or was there something bigger going on here? And I think probably I should still have a negative reaction. I'm going to stand by that reaction because, I mean, look, I think that it's great that these fully plant-based places are popping up in the in arenas, I think it's great. Like I like to have an impossible market in your arena, maybe even two, I think is wonderful. But if your name is the Climate Pledge Arena, then you should have sustainable food at every single concession stand.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think that's a good point. If you're going to call yourself that, and apparently it is like the most climate friendly, most sustainable arena. I don't know what that's based on, but maybe the way they're getting energy or whatever, and their water usage, I'm sure. Yeah, you're right. That if that's the thing, perhaps the most important thing they could do would be serve plant-based food everywhere, the whole thing. Yeah. So I think it's a good point. At the very least, if you're going to call yourself that, you should have a good plant-based option at every stand. I was actually like, I think on Friday we said this, and I said just like a little basic vegan hot dog would be perfect. I don't need I don't need the fancy stuff that Wicked Kitchen or Wicked Foods was doing with all these sauces and different stuff. Likewise, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of impossible stuff that is Korean beef bowl, barbecue chili curly fries. I mean, I guess those are kind of typical stadium things. Well, maybe not, but they're not as fancy as the Wicked Food stuff. But like just one little thing. And then I was thinking, would you rather have that, or would it be nice just to go get a healthy thing somewhere? Like, would you want like just a good old black bean burger or something simple? And I thought, nah, I think the stadium hot dog would be the better choice to have at everything. It's not like you're going there all the time.
Do you like those? I don't know, like maybe they're tofurkey dogs, just like the real cheap hot dogs, vegan dogs that you can get.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. It is definitely missing some sort of satisfactory part to it. They're just like, it just goes down fast and doesn't taste like anything except for the sauce you put on it. Right. It's fine though. I don't care. I mean, like that. Yeah. I'd get that at a stadium. That'd be fine. And that's not that unhealthy.
There's a hot dog food truck here in Asheville. I'm sure you've eaten there. Dogs, or I think it's what it's called.
I don't know.
And they are not a vegan hot dog place, but they have the vegan dog, and that they deep fry it, and it's that same cheap dog, but they deep fry it, and it's very, very good. Yeah, it's really good.
Sure it is. Interesting. There was a vegan hamburger truck in Asheville that I've been to, and I can't think of the name suddenly. I think Trashy Vegan, I think is what it was.
Oh yeah,
vegan, but have you been to that?
Yeah, and now those same owners have a vegan donut place in Black Mountain.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't know that was the same owners. I knew about that place from you, but okay, interesting. Yeah, it was good. I like that. Okay, so my final point here is a little bit of confusion. I'm not totally sure. This is Veg News' article, by the way. It says on the menu, guests will find vegetarian options such as 2 different Impossible cheeseburgers, Impossible beef, the things I read before, curly fries, the Korean barbecue bowl, and the Impossible meatball sub. One vegan option is Impossible chicken nuggets served with fries and barbecue sauce. So that's my kind of downward facing Doug moment. Is like, if I went to this and I made the trip down to sections 11 and 12, because I'm sure I'd be at 350 or something, down there to the rich sections, and then I got there and there's all this great sounding stuff, which I just said I didn't want, and then I have to get one vegan option because all that stuff is vegetarian. That'd be kind of a bummer. And again, like if you're trying to be the Climate Pledge Arena, there should be more than that. But maybe it's not that hard if you get the cheese off of the cheeseburgers, or don't get probably the cheese on the curly fries. So I don't know. And it wasn't totally clear to me that those vegetarian items weren't vegan, but it sounds the way they're presenting it like those aren't. So anyway, that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm happy with anything. So glad this is happening. Hope it keeps happening in more stadiums.
I think it will.
Yeah.
You know what we should start a movement right now. As the World Series is about to come up, we should have either the Astros or Phillies go fully plant-based for one of the baseball games. That would make a statement. Think we can get that to happen?
We're going to get one of them to do that?
Yeah.
Last minute?
Yeah.
Oh, the stadium, not the teams.
The stadium. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that should be easy to do. That should be no problem. All right. I had something I wanted to ask. Oh, you know what, Doug? You mentioned something that this sort of hypocrisy of this, like calling yourself Climate Pledge, but not really. I mean, they're making an effort, so that's good. But still, that this is like the first vegan. And actually, Doug, we don't know that they don't have a vegan option at every.
That's true. We don't know that at all.
Maybe
they might.
Should have figured that out maybe first. I was reading, that Morning Brew, the newsletter that I sometimes get our stories from. They had one on Sunday. Their Sunday issue is always weird. and they were talking about climate and they were like had this little piece about telling everyone how methane was destroying the environment and how much it was coming from cows, as if this was news to people. And then it went on when I think of this as kind of a like it's a little bit too far leaning to the liberal side for me. I like my news to be right in the middle, balanced. If it's too far right, I'm not into it. Too far left, I'm not into it. So I'm borderline, like I think of it as sort of a biased source. But I'm thinking, okay, they're talking about this climate change stuff. They're going to surely like talk about how we could reduce our meat consumption. It goes on and says, scientists are working on how to solve this problem, and there are some solutions in the works. One of them is masks for the cows, some kind of masks that they will put on the cows that will keep methane, filter it out or something.
No.
And then and I couldn't, unfortunately, I deleted it and I couldn't find it again. But they had some other solution too. And no mention of like maybe if we just ate a little bit less meat or a lot
that
less
has to be a joke. Masks for the cows? What? No. Oh my god.
Liberals like masks, I guess.
That can't be a liberal thing.
I don't know. I know. Anyway, I just thought that it's just funny that in different contexts, people can. I don't know. People who want to eat meat like eating meat, and they forget that we could just solve a lot of these issues by not
eating as much meat. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that happens a lot. I've seen that or heard that story many times from people who work in climate change sort of jobs, nonprofits, and whatever. And if you go there and you ask people, and even in some of the vegan, like the farm sanctuary, I think like a lot of the employees, they're not vegan, and they don't somehow they just like they compartmentalize. I don't know if that's true for farm sanctuary. It's kind of a small organization. I don't mean to call them out. I just think I heard someone. I forget where I heard this one particular person. So anyway, it's just weird. People, I think they sort of compartmentalize and they don't think about that as like one of the ways to change things.
Maybe the biggest way to change things.
Yes, probably is. Mm-hmm. Okay, Doug. Next one is really our last main one. You shared this to me last minute. I didn't have much time to listen to it. NPR. Why don't you give us the rundown?
Yeah. So this is not an article. It was it was like a news audio piece on NPR that I heard this morning on Morning Edition. But the headline, if you can listen to it, is many products by the largest food firms are considered unhealthy, research shows. And it was looking at two different Pew Research, new pieces of research from the Pew Research Foundation, whatever it's called. And there's just a couple of interesting things that stood out to me in that reporting. One was that 70% of products sold by the largest food companies are unhealthy. So you think about what is stocking the food shelves and who is stocking the food shelves. And 70% of those processed products are unhealthy, which is really not surprising. I mean, you think about it, like it's not going to, I mean, that's not like a huge surprise, but
right.
But it that number stands out. But I guess the two bigger ones were 26% of people, only 26% of people hit all the recommended food groups with any amount, not even the recommended amount, but just hit all of the food groups on any given day, which really surprised me because that seems incredibly low. And then even fewer actually hit the recommended amount of fruits and grains and vegetables and things like that. So you just think about how unhealthy most people's diets really are. I mean, we're just so far removed from what we're supposed to be eating, in part because of the food that's available at the grocery store, at least the cheap food or the convenient food, and then also probably just bad habits and bad, we're a downward spiral of what we're offering our kids and feeding our kids at school, and then having them grow up on, and then they continue to have those bad habits as they get older.
Yeah, right. That I don't know. As I get older, I mean, I just noticed that more. I guess I don't know. You grow up, you become an adult, you realize like this is your actual real life, and you're living it. And I don't know. Somehow, so like I can sort of look at the world through a lens that comes a little more wisdom, and I'm like, man, a lot of people like you just go to the grocery store, and they just have no idea. Not they don't have any idea. I don't really know what they're thinking, but the amount of people who just stand at a grocery store and just put item after item after item of horrible food up on the thing, and you up on the whatever it's called, the conveyor belt, and you realize that they do this week in and week out and like feed the family, and this is their kids are eating the same stuff, And I get some of it's cheaper, some of that's what they can afford, and that's that's too bad. Certainly there are some cheap plant-based or healthy whole food options. A lot of them, beans and grains, are not expensive at all. But not everyone has the time to prepare those things. I understand that. But yeah, it is a big problem, and it is a sort of a systemic problem for sure. It's also an individual problem, I think. I mean, at least as much as you want to blame the individual, largely because I think people are not educated about food, and that maybe becomes because their doctors aren't educated, or wherever they're getting their information is not. So yeah, not shocking, but yeah, you hate to see this kind of stuff because it just makes you realize how far we have to go when we're
right.
I don't know.
Well, and like what they talked a little bit about in this article, or this, I don't know what you call it, news segment, was how much of these food decisions are personal responsibility, right? I mean, we kind of want to say, people are grown-ups, they can make decisions, they know that there are vegetables over here, and if they just go over there and get the vegetables, then they don't need to buy this other stuff. Mm-hmm. How much of that is personal responsibility, and how much of it comes back on the food industry? And I think that, I think it's both. I think certainly it's personal responsibility. People have to make the right decisions for themselves and their families and their budgets and all that stuff. But also, the industry thrives off of greenwashing products or healthy washing products, having low fat on there or whatever, having all these like labels that make you feel like you're getting something that maybe isn't that unhealthy, even though it's still just a lot of processed junk or has zero nutritional value. And so, I think it does come back into, how can we as a society promote or encourage health, like properly labeled foods, so that people know exactly what they're getting or what they're not getting, I guess is even more important.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge thing. I've seen articles recently talking about how, like, kind of calling on the grocery stores to do a better job. That, like, if we are going to change how people eat, and I was reading this in the plant-based context. I think it was in the context of that Veganuary thing, where it turned out that although Veganuary spiked plant-based food item sales in the UK this past year during January, it didn't have any impact on the meat sales. They just kept coming.
Okay, buying the meat, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I've seen recently is that although plant-based, more people are eating plant-based meats, the growth in that is not keeping up with the growth in meat consumption. So more people, now the gap between how many people eat that versus regular meat is even greater than it was before this existed, because that's growing so quickly. So like, yeah, I mean, like if we want people to change, first of all, like it can always come down to the consumer, right? Like if the people would really change, if everyone started demanding this, then the change happens, because that's where the money's happening. But it's not easy at all, and I think it's just so hard for me to imagine people making healthy choices in large numbers when the system is what it is. I mean, it's just they're just not. And I've seen also just today, I saw an article about how cellular agriculture, a topic we talked about last week, growing lab-grown meat, basically using stem cells, but then after that, no more animal involvement. They were saying people are unwilling to compromise on the sensory experience of their food. Like, they're just not. And we've seen this. Like, we read that silly article from New Zealand about the guy who was like trying to have his family go plant-based for a week. And then he was complaining in the article. He was like, yeah, like the stuff was pretty good. The hot dog was not too bad. It took on a lot of the flavors of what was on it, but it lacked the proper pop and squeak of a proper Frankfurter. And it was just like, I mean, if that's what they demand, then no one's going to change for a long time. Right. If they want exactly the same food. And I kind of think that's what it is. I think people who tried this fake meats products, these meat alternatives, whatever you want to call them, that we are so excited about because they're pretty close to the real thing, or at least they're a different sensory experience than like eating whole plant food, and it's a more indulgent one. We get excited about that because we haven't eaten meat in forever. But people who are just, normal shoppers, and we're hoping they're going to change their eating habits because they try a Beyond Burger and they say, wow, this is kind of good. Like, I think they're not. I think mostly they're saying, wow, like that's better than I expected. But then it's not the same thing. So I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to keep eating that.
Right.
And I think that's a problem. I think people will not start eating this stuff in large numbers until it is identical and they cannot tell a difference. and they don't have to compromise, which is too bad that that's what it takes. And that's also why I think the fast food is the opportunity zone, because I think that's where it's really close to tasting exactly the same already. So I think that's where that might happen. But
how do we get people from buying junk food to like actually buying beans and whole grains and vegetables? You know, like like we're talking about replacing meat with processed plant meat when like the real problem is people just aren't eating vegetables or fruit. Right. You know, people aren't giving their kids bananas or strawberries.
I think it's a lost cause. I think it is hopeless. There's no way there's no way people are going back down that road unless they have to, unless it is forced on them, and the other food is outlawed, illegal to make, illegal to sell. And it might maybe come to that if people are just out of control and everyone is completely unhealthy. And I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But no one's going to go back. And the people aren't going to go eat that stuff. They're just not. The people that I was talking about at the grocery store who have frozen things of corn dogs and pizza bites and the white breads and the big, I mean, not even meat, just like processed meat only if they're going to have meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no way they're going to do that. Maybe 1 in 100 will, wake up, maybe get excited about a vegan thing or even a paleo or keto thing, whatever, and be into actual food. But it's just, and honestly, like that's a lot to ask of them. I'm sure that person has so much going on in their life that makes food very, very low on their priority list right now because it's off in the future, the cost of that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just not going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Right.
All we can do is do our part and report on the Beyond Meat and Taco Bell and keep telling people about these tasty meat alternatives that are out there.
Yeah. And maybe they'll get the vegan corn dog next time, which I guess is better, but I don't know. I mean,
not better for their health. I mean, maybe in some way, but I'm sure in other ways it's worse.
Yeah.
Yep. Too bad. Happy, positive start to the week.
Yeah, way to end Monday on a high note.
We did have some nice comments. People on the multi-stream, which is our other channels, Facebook, Twitch, etc. Pink White says, "Hey guys, I'm a big fan. That's cool." The Woodland Gardener says, "Good morning from Ohio," which is where the Taco Bell carne asada can be gotten now. So you should go there. I think Dayton is where it is. Someone else said, "Good morning." Someone said, "Hi from Italy." That's cool. Georgia Cavallari. That's exciting. By the way, the Plant-Based Athlete, available in Italian. You can go get it.
Nice plug.
Yeah. Anyway, so all right.
The whole health experience says it's not hopeless, and you know what? I believe her. She knows what's up.
Good. I'm going to choose to believe her right now. Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for chiming in and attending at a weird hour.
Yes, we'll be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow, but we're just going to keep sprinkling in some weird hours, even some after 11 a.m., some afternoon hours to see how that goes. Someone at the beginning asked if we were East Coast time, and yes, we are East Coast time. So this time kind of makes sense. I realized as I was planning for the show and reading about the Beyond Meats, or these meat products, it was hard to get excited about these things that extra hour earlier when it was like still just like I was just waking up. I just wasn't that enthused about an impossible, Korean bowl. But maybe the afternoon hour will change the content a little bit. But anyway, if you happen to join us here, again, podcast is available. The Plant-Based Morning Show is the name. You can go anywhere you listen to podcasts and find it and subscribe. And you can download weeks worth of episodes now, daily episodes. And honestly, wouldn't be the worst way to spend a road trip.
It wouldn't. Yeah, get to hang out with your buddies.
Right. It's kind of fun.
We got to vote for Chuck Jody. Votes for 11. So I think that's probably where we'll land back.
Yeah, I think so. We're just trying different stuff. We're testing stuff, just like all these fast food places are testing the different plant meats to see what sticks. We're just testing things. We're exposing new eyeballs to it, so that they can come subscribe to the podcast and then join us at the live at 11. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Sorry, it was a little bit of a downer at the end there, with the hopelessness and all. But hopefully tomorrow we'll be back on track, positive, funny stuff, and hope everyone enjoys their Monday. Yeah, Diwali, absolutely. By the way, it's Diwali.
Yeah,
you know that? Didn't know that?
No.
So my neighborhood, in addition to being a huge Halloween neighborhood, there are a lot of Indian families, and our neighborhood was all lit up with Diwali lights, and they were doing fireworks and things out in last night. It's really cool. So I'm into Diwali. My kids are even going to a Diwali story time this afternoon. Impromptu. The neighbor is doing it to sort of educate people, and they're really into it. Yeah.
Very nice.
So, happy Diwali. 5-day celebration. I don't know when it started, but I think we're in the middle of it right now.
Okay.
All right. That's all.
All right.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.